Hello everyone, my name is Ramon Smits and I'm a developer at Particular Software. With this video, we want to announce the general availability of the NServiceBus IBM MQ transport. Search for IBM MQ sample and then select the item IBM MQ Simple Sender Receiver. This NServiceBus sample shows how to send and receive messages using the IBM MQ transport. Download the sample by clicking the green Download Sample button in the upper right corner. I'll be using Podman to host my IBM MQ container. I will start the container. Both the sender and receiver projects use Microsoft Extensions.hosting to host the endpoint. Here we are initializing the sender. We do this by creating an endpoint configuration object and pass in the name sender. We use all capitals because IBM MQ is case sensitive, and this reduces configuration errors. Then we specify the NServiceBus dead letter queue. Persistent failures will be forwarded to this dead letter queue and then ingested by the particular platform so that an operator can review the failure and decide what to do with this. We then configure what wire format to use. This sample uses JSON. We configure the sender to be send only. We do this because we're only sending a message from the sender to the receiver and not reply back. This is, for example, very common for web farm instances. This prevents creating the queues. We specify that we want to use the IBM MQ transport and provide the connection information so that NServiceBus can connect to the broker instance that's currently running as a Podman container. In the production environment, you use your own custom channel and obviously run least privileges. We then pass in this transport configuration to the endpoint configuration. This provides access to the routing object. Here we configure that we want to route the message myMessage to destination receiver. There are various ways to route messages to a specific destination, but this is the preferred method. We then pass the configuration to the use NServiceBus extension method that is part of the package NServiceBus extensions.hosting. Now configuration is complete and we can start the endpoint by launching the host. To send the message, we first need to resolve an iMessage session and then invoke the send method and pass it the message. This is very common for web applications where you receive a specific payload and then convert it into a message that is put into a queue. Endpoint configuration of the receiver is pretty much identical to the sender. To process a message with NServiceBus, we need to define a message handler. Here we have the handler myHandler that processes the message that is sent from the sender. It takes two arguments, myMessage and iMessageHandler context. The context can be used to send or publish new messages or to get more details of the incoming message. For example, get access to the message headers or the message ID. The sample have not been run yet. Let's go to the queue view. Here you see the queues that are automatically created by the container image. Let's run the sender. A message is now stored in the queue, the sender completed, and now we can switch to the receiver. Here you see that we received the message with the payload, my data. It is still running, so we can run the sender again to send a new message. We see that the message is instantly received and processed. I have refreshed the queue view and we now see the receiver listed. NServiceBus by default creates persistent queues, as can be seen in the configuration. By the way, NServiceBus can create all your queuing infrastructure like queues and topics, but you can also do this fully manually. In the sample, we are using enable installers. If you remove this, no queues and topics will be created automatically. This is the ServicePulse dashboard. It provides observability and recoverability features. For example, we can see what endpoints are currently running, how they're behaving, and what the current performance is. We can also drill down into each instance. If auditing is enabled, we can see every message that is processed within the system. We can check its payload, its headers, and how all messages that flow in the system are connected. The failed message view provides easy access to see which messages failed to be processed in the system. We now have a bunch of messages that keep failing in the system. Here we look at a grouped view. We can also look at all messages individually. We can check the exception that occurred, the body, the headers, etc. ServicePulse also provides various ways to group failures. The default one is to group by exception type, but we can also group by, for example, the endpoint. Currently, no more failures are being generated by the system, and now we can do a group retry. The group retry completed, and no more errors are appearing. If you want to run the IBM MQ sample yourself, the link is in the video description. You'll also find links to the monitoring demo, as this video only briefly went over the ServicePulse features, bridge documentation to learn more about how you can exchange messages between IBM MQ and any of the other supported brokers by the particular platform. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or even better, on our forum. Link is in the description. Have a great day.